Or am I? I'm actually AI Elliott. The real Elliott is probably backstage making sure the technology is working. I've analyzed thousands of hours of Elliott's videos, emails, and presentations, so I know him better than anyone. For example, everyone absolutely loves his dad jokes. He's a lifelong die-hard Green Bay Packers fan. And of course, he firmly believes ketchup belongs on a hot dog.
Hey everyone, my name is Elliott Vaughn, the real one this time. If you believe that was me for even a few seconds, please don't feel bad. The entire video, my face, my voice, and everything I said was created with artificial intelligence. Now, unfortunately, the worst thing AI Elliott did was claim that I was a Packers fan, and that ketchup belongs on a hot dog. That's just not true. Those of you from Chicago knew immediately that couldn't possibly be true. But here's the problem. Criminals aren't using AI to argue about hot dogs or football. They're using it to make scams more believable than ever before. Now, before we get started, I want to thank you all for taking some time to join us. My name is Elliott Vaughn. I'm a certified financial planner, the founder of Harbor Wealth. Joining me this afternoon is Ryan Hickel.
I'm Ryan Hickel, CPA here in the Chicagoland area, owner of Hickel CPA. And Elliott and I work collaboratively on many clients in many areas in our own respective professions. But we find that when we tag team topics like this, bring it to our clients' attention, and really, dive into the details and bring it to a level of understanding for all levels, it's very helpful and can really provide some great insight.
100%. And between the two of us, we spend every day helping families make smart financial decisions, whether it's protecting retirement savings, planning for taxes, or helping clients build long-term financial security. We also spend a surprising amount of time helping protect our clients' personal information. And unfortunately, cybercrime touches every part of that. It touches both parts of our worlds. You'll notice that this presentation is pre-recorded, and we did that intentionally so that we can make sure everything looked and sounded great for everyone watching. Immediately after this presentation, Ryan and I will be hosting a Q&A for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you have questions, we'd love to answer them live. The Zoom link is in the email you received. You'll find it in the description or the comments section below. Now, why are we talking about cybersecurity? I've been a financial planner for over a decade. Ryan's been a CPA and accountant for over a decade, and we've watched scams evolve dramatically. Years ago, scam emails were easy to spot. Today, artificial intelligence can write convincing emails, clone voices, clone realistic videos, and impersonate people you know in a matter of minutes. The video you just saw of me took me all of 3 minutes to make, and I'm not some tech guru. I'm willing to bet almost everyone watching has received a scam text recently, a phone call that looked like it came from a legitimate business, or knows someone who's been affected by fraud. 5 years ago, this would have been a cybersecurity seminar. Today, it's more of a cybersecurity and life skills seminar. Our own firms have been targeted. We've had criminals impersonate me, members of our staff, and even clients in attempts to move money or gain access to sensitive information. Thankfully, every attempt has been stopped because of the safeguards and the processes in our firms, along with advanced training that we take every year. But just to put that into perspective, JP Morgan Chase spends about $15 billion every year on technology and employs over 62,000 people 62,000 technologists to try and prevent this type of cybercrime. And even with all those resources, they've said that they've seen roughly 45 billion hacking attempts every single day over the last couple of months and even the last couple of years. That's the world we live in. The good news is you don't need to be a cybersecurity expert to protect yourself. Tonight, our goal is to help you understand how these scams work, what are the warning signs to watch for, and the practical steps that you can take to protect yourself and your financial future. So let's get started. Let's dive on in. So, cybersecurity for real life. Now, again, please keep in mind that this is for educational purposes only. We are not technological, or IT people. We are not part of Geek Squad. Please make sure you're keeping that in mind. Now, again, as we said, my name is Elliott Vaughn. and with me is Ryan Hickel.
Hello, here we
And
are.
let's first kind of dissect and jump on into the three types of threats that we can incur on a daily basis. First, we have the direct threat. Now, Ryan, what are direct threats?
A direct threat is something like a person at your door knocking on the door, trying to get in to steal your money, right? An immediate danger that is right in front of your face, directly affecting your identity and your valuables and your assets.
And then we also have digital threats. Now, this is trying to hack your phone, trying to hack your computer, trying to get into your internet or your some kind of software. This is not someone trying to reach into your wallet or to your purse physically, but trying to gain access to sensitive information. Then we have hybrid. This is somewhat misunderstood. Ryan, what are hybrid threats?
So a hybrid threat, from my understanding, again, we're not IT professionals here. However, a hybrid threat would be a combination of the two, right? This could be somebody who is walking next to you with a RFID reader who is trying to gain access to your digital information, right? This kind of mix of the two worlds that can be a worst case scenario of both, right? So that hybrid attack.
So maybe something like gaining access to sensitive information like your credit card number, your debit number, which then translates into a digital threat turning into a direct threat. So someone
Mhm.
gaining access to your credit card or debit account and then turning that into a direct threat or a direct attack by taking money out of your account, something like that. It encompasses both types of threats. And so again, I think that one of the best things we can talk about is what what did the world look like even 20 years ago versus what it is today? In something like 2006, threats arrived in your email inbox. The attackers were sometimes, doing it as a part-time job or hobby, if you want to call it a job. A lot of times it was very easy to spot. Not to say, that some perpetrator or some attacks weren't perpetrated. That absolutely was, but it wasn't as prevalent as it was today. Phone calls were generally safe. One strong password got you pretty far. If
Hmm.
it was just, something 7 characters, and we're going to talk about character length in a second. Some that were uppercase, some were lowercase. That got you again pretty far.
Yeah.
Today, threats are hitting our inbox, our texts, our phone calls regularly. And crime groups are not even run like businesses. There are, entire industries across the not just the country but overseas that look at this as their primary source of income, trying to gain access and scam people out of their hard-earned money.
It is
Um,
scary to think that the effort that's put in to this industry, right? And it's an industry, the cyber criminal industry,
mhm.
they work just as hard as you and I, if not harder. And they have no regulation, they have no rules. They are a lawless society that can use any tool to their advantage they can get their hands on.
100%. 100%. And so let's first dive into passwords. That is the first line of defense, the guard at the front door.
Hey, you just
Um,
said my password I use for my bank. Password. You can't tell everybody that. Jeez, Elliot, come on.
yeah, please don't use 12345 or password 12345 or admin 123.
Oh my goodness.
Long beats clever. Please never reuse. If one gets breached, that password, it becomes immediately accessible on all the other websites that you use that password on. So we are big fans of password managers. Google has a password manager. Microsoft, Ryan and I were big fans of Keeper.
Hmm.
I think that there's a couple other out there, Ryan.
The Apple password manager is great, right? iPhone
Oh
has
yeah,
the
yeah.
integrated and built-in password manager. Something like a face identification, a two-factor authentication, which again we'll talk about here in a moment. But those softwares and tools that its only job is to keep passwords safe, keep all of your data and passwords secure within this exceptionally high-end encrypted environment that then has a single credential that you use to access everything, right? That
Yeah,
one password must be significant, long. Again, long beats clever. Make sure it is 12 to 16 characters long to access then all of your other passwords, which are kept encrypted. These tools are fantastic.
100%, 100%. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I have something like 140 different passwords for stuff, ranging from the software that we use day to day to the software or the services that we use to sign my son up for soccer within the park district. So it's just one of those things that we should not be reusing. If one of those passwords gets leaked and you're reusing it, all other services, all other software, all other websites can be attacked if that password is reused.
Mm-hmm. the
But
the
even
net is casted wide, right? That's the concept. Is one password gets into the wrong hands, they use that in thousands or hundreds of thousands of attempts on other sites that then can get them immediate access.
100%. And so, to take this a step further, let's say we never reuse passwords. Let's say we keep our password behind a lock and key, and we have a knight in shining armor protecting that password. How long would it take to crack that password? Again,
Mm.
20 years ago, a password that was maybe 7 characters long, I'll circle it here, got you pretty far. That was a pretty secure password. But this day and age, if it's all lowercase or maybe you have one uppercase letter and number, it doesn't take long for hackers to be able to figure out and crack that password. So you gotta have, it is necessary in this day and age to have at least one character, or at least one uppercase, one lowercase, a symbol, a number, and the longer the better. If you have at least one uppercase letter, a number, a symbol, and it's 16 characters long, it would take about 1 trillion years to crack your password.
Wow.
That's
I was
great.
always hesitant or skeptical of the password creators, right? When you're logging into a new site, you're signing up for a new service, an app, or any kind of login. The phone, the iPhone, will recommend, or even Google will recommend, hey, do you want us to create a password for you? This was always a hesitation of mine because trying to remember all these passwords is a nightmare. But having that system, that keeper, or the iPhone, the lock, the service, you don't have to remember them. You have the system create that exceptionally complex 16-digit password for you. It stores it in your service in your system, and then you just access it when you need to using your one that you've created. And 1 trillion years is a pretty long time for someone to try to hack my Chewy order for my pet food, right?
Hey, don't knock Chewy. That love that service,
Save me on a daily basis. Absolutely.
right? So the next layer of defense is two-factor authentication. Okay. Getting text message codes is awesome. So anytime we log into some of our services, it's going to say, hey, we're going to send you a code. We're going to text you. We want to make sure that it's you. That's great. Better is an authenticator app. We use this pretty regular as well. So Google has an authenticator app, Microsoft, which is it's their codes is a 6-digit code that rotates every 30 seconds. It is not static. Again, this is another great way to protect yourself, especially when we're logging into some really sensitive information or to a really sensitive environment. Ryan, what are some of those environments that we kind of talk about?
Our portal system, for one. The accessibility to any and all of your tax documents, original source data, W-2s, 1099s are stored in an encrypted system. And to have this authenticator app, right, to have that 30-second rolling code, the chances of someone, number one, gaining access using your password, but then also 30 seconds of time to be able to access your phone, which is in your possession, with your two-factor authentication to your phone, fingerprint, code ID, face ID, to get that 6-digit character within a 30-second time frame. That's near impossibility. Most banking apps have this. The systems and environments that have very sensitive data will almost always have a two-factor authentication, and it's for this reason. It's for your own protection, and it should be used every single time with no exception.
100%. Same thing whenever anyone logs into account view. Okay. You not only need to know your password and username, but you also need to either get a text message, a phone call, an email with a code. This is, again, please don't misunderstand. We're not implementing this stuff because we want to make it more difficult. We implement these things in banks, and different services across the country implement this to protect you and
You
protect your
know,
information.
I would love to be able to have clients just log in when they open the app with no security, but we're forced in this position, right? You and I have been put in this position, as with all of our clients and all of our coworkers, and it's the world we live in, the environment we're in, and using this and getting used to it, getting familiar with it, and making it kind of second nature is going to keep your identity to yourself, which is the utmost importance.
100%. So then, we're moving on from two-factor authentication. We're protecting our passwords. What is we'll say, the biggest vulnerability? And unfortunately, your phone and tech is the biggest target.
Absolutely.
I'm going to include this. Actually, I'll talk about this a couple of times. There is a wonderful master class on the service master class. If you Google master class, it's a collection of different lectures from industry titans across the country and across the world. They have
Great
a wonderful
interviews.
master
Yeah.
class. What's that?
It's great interviews on Masterclass. Fantastic.
100%. And they have a great master class on cybersecurity. And one of the biggest takeaways from that was hackers and scammers aren't necessarily targeting as much as they used to banks, institutions, or office complexes, or even just offices in general, businesses, because most of the time we have dedicated IT teams. We have someone, either one person or multiple people that are servicing and monitoring our network, our data, our what's called traffic, our data traffic. So what they're doing is they're then saying, let's not target the businesses, let's target people's homes. Let's target
Now,
their home computers.
how would they do that? What's the process of targeting my home, right? My home and my residential community. How would they target me?
They would do it through different things like sending emails to your personal email, sending you text messages to your personal device and saying, hey, long time no see, and it's a random number you've never heard about. Or we see this regularly. It's, a Gmail or a Google Doc being sent to you saying, hey, here's this e-signature document. Your case is pending. You need to sign this thing within 12 hours or some bad consequence will take place. And if you click on that document, a world of hurt could be right around the corner. So your phone and your tech is the biggest target. The different layers that we recommend highly, and we implemented ourselves, is having a lock screen, using biometrics. To get into our computers and stuff, Ryan, you're probably, I take it you're the same way. It's, hey, we got to have a really long password.
Hmm.
If people guess it too many times, the computer is wiped. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we get locked out if we misuse or mistype our password. We also have two-factor authentication for every software that our office uses. Microsoft Authenticator for every single software that you have to have, or you cannot access the computer. And it auto logs out after 15 minutes. So if it's dormant, it'll immediately log you out just to protect that information as well.
Watch what you install. If it's not from the App Store, Google Play, I would be very hesitant about downloading something.
Hmm.
Let your software auto update. I know we always get those kind of notifications like, hey, iOS has come up with their 16 or whatever version we're on. And it's like, I just feel like I downloaded this yesterday.
Do I really have to have a 30-minute update to my phone? Come on, what's it going to
Yeah.
do? There's no harm, right? Come on.
I take it that the engineers at Apple and Android, they're not sitting in the background being like, you know what? We think we need another update just because we're bored. They're updating the software regularly to prevent any kind of attacks. So making
Finding
sure you
those
have,
attacks that exist and identifying ways to mitigate those that they know about, right? That's their proactive, I guess I should say, their reactive move to event to prevent uh, hacks from those known factors.
Yep, love it. Make sure you turn on Find My iPhone or Find My Phone. For a lot of my stuff, I got like little Apple Air tags,
Mm-hmm.
so that if I forget my wallet or whatever, I can find it very easily. Boy, I can't emphasize number five. No, I just can't emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
Please don't go to a coffee shop and sign on to their Wi-Fi and then log into Account View or Tax Dome. Just, I would be hesitant about logging into public Wi-Fi, period.
Yeah, in general, you may as well just give the people laying around a blank check at that point. I mean, it is so easy for someone who knows what they're doing to identify your device logging into a public Wi-Fi, and they can immediately access what you're doing, if not see what you're typing, where you're going. It's a mirror system. It's scary.
Yeah. And then the last one, which has been recommended a couple of times by our IT team, is adding a carrier pin. If you call your carrier, Verizon, AT&T, you can ask them for a port out passcode to block any kind of SIM swaps. That prevents people from imitating your phone number. It does take a couple minutes, but it is one of those things that can help prevent, again, different types of attacks.
Mhm.
Now, preventing or protecting financial accounts. These are the most highest, we'll call it the high leverage moves. You should have a separate email, maybe for your finances. Use only one for your bank, brokerage accounts, tax accounts. Don't be, using the same Gmail for the Target newsletters or, whatever it may be. Again, if any of those emails get compromised, if someone gains access to that email, then everything that's in that inbox could be available and could be seen. Freezing your credit at all three bureaus.
Yeah.
I know I'm a huge fan of this. I know Ryan's an even bigger fan of this. Ryan, take this one away.
So the credit bureaus, they allow accounts to be opened, right? When you check your credit, you see what your credit score is, you go and apply for a loan, car loan, whatever. Your credit bureaus, the three credit bureaus, allow for accounts to open. If you take 15 minutes and freeze your credit, you're preventing anyone, including yourself at the moment, but anyone, from opening a new account using your information. This has become so much easier to do over the last few years. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion will all allow you to freeze your credit and what's called thaw your credit within moments. Right? This is a very simple, easy process going through their encrypted, secured websites to do so. Highly recommend doing this. If you're at a car dealer, you're getting a new car, literally the day of, the morning of, or while you're sitting in the finance department, you can thaw your credit right before they run it to allow for that new line to open. And then when you leave there in your brand new BMW, you can go ahead and freeze your credit once more for the foreseeable future. Super easy process, high security involved.
Love it. 100%. I remember, I think it was for a business credit card. I was on the phone with the credit card company. I go, okay, which credit rating agency do you use? I think it was TransUnion.
Yeah.
Cool. Give me 1 second. I pulled up the TransUnion, website on my phone. I clicked thaw. They ran it. I was able to refreeze it all within 15 minutes. They've made this very easy. So it's just one of those things that I'm a big fan of it as well. Highly recommend we turn on alerts for every transaction. If money is leaving your account, just get a quick text message. Oh yeah, this looks right. Okay, this sounds right. This looks right. If your credit card or debit card ever gets stolen, or someone is able to mimic some kind of, again, mimic a debit card or a check or whatever, and you see a transaction that doesn't look right, most of the time scammers and hackers start off with a small amount to see if the account is active. So you got to be alert. All right, well, I didn't make a $50 transaction at wherever. This seems incorrect. I better start taking some preventative measures.
Mhm.
Confirming wire instructions by phone. If when we buy a house or a car or whatever it is, wires aren't too prevalent these days, but it's one of those things that call a known number for the bank, for the institution, for title company, not the email. Do not trust the email. that's all fine and well to say, hey, these instructions look right, but I'm going to call the physical bank or institution that I am doing business with to confirm wire instructions. So one of those things that it is highly recommended to kind of go through these little items to protect yourself.
And I wanted to kind of piggyback off that wire instruction by phone. These wire transfers are typically for very high dollar purchases, right? We're not talking about the $100 Zelle to your kid to buy college textbooks, which probably would be $300 now, considering the cost of college textbooks.
Yeah.
This is for a $750,000 penthouse, right? And I say that as an example. A client of ours was making a purchase. She got an email from what seemed to be a legitimate source and followed through with the instructions and wired the dollars to an unknown party, and they are gone. Right? This is the no coming back from that transaction, and no steps were taken. She did not call the number. She didn't follow her instructions from the realtor. Very unfortunate position. That could have been mitigated by following these instructions. So again, just for for the high dollar numbers, take your time. There is usually no rush. That urgency factor that's instilled in some of these scam scenarios, they do that intentionally, right? Do it now or else. This is going to expire in an hour, something like that. It should be a red flag. Do not do that.
Yeah, great point. There is no rush for this. If you have concerns or questions, call us.
Please.
We're happy to talk you through this. The IRS, they do not text. An IRS agent is not going to call you and tell you that, the county sheriff is on the way. That's just not how it's done.
Right.
So just, again, take your time. If it sounds fishy, trust your instincts, and use our office, use our highly trained staff as soundboards, because we've seen it all.
Mm-hmm. Please never hesitate to contact Elliott or myself, or both of us for that matter, to confirm our own respective positions. So yes, do not hesitate. We'd love to talk to you and make sure that you're kept safe.
Now, this leads us to credit cards. And credit cards can be used as a great first line of defense when making purchases. You should use credit cards online. Debit cards, I really wouldn't risk it, because there's a limitation on if it is coming from an unscrupulous source. Wherever, if there's a purchase, it's harder to get that money back. Yeah. If a credit card is used and or scammed, a little less so. There's stronger fraud protection. So use virtual card numbers. Most major credit card companies can provide single-use source or merchant lock numbers as opposed to your static credit card number, which is awesome. Make sure you're checking the monthly statements. That, along with, again, highly recommend you get, transaction alerts on your phone. It's a great way to just double check that everything looks correct. I'm not a huge fan of saving cards everywhere. Just my little bugaboo. I wouldn't recommend using debit cards online or even at restaurants and gas stations. Boy, just you see it on the news, those scammers when yeah, exactly, on top of those machines to pay at gas stations. So and as I mentioned, don't ignore small mystery charges. The $2, $3, $4, those are just little phishing expenditures or just charges to kind of see if a credit card number or debit card number is active. So yeah. Ryan, anything else on here?
No, that's perfect. I mean, the small charges are the ones that typically don't get looked at, and that's just, it's poking the bear, right? This is they're trying to see if there's a reaction. They're making sure the coast is clear for that $3,000 charge tomorrow. It is a yellow flag, a very, very deep yellow, almost red flag that you should be aware of every time.
100%. Now, email scams. We see these all the time. Again, Ryan and I, we have our respective IT companies that we pay a fair amount of money, and they have, email phishing, preventative measures that we get alerts on every single morning. Hey, we were able to catch. Every morning it feels like that number is growing. So this morning it was 15 for me. Emails that were tagged and have been pulled aside in quarantine as we think phishing. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, having an IT team behind us. Google does a pretty good job. Outlook, Yahoo, they all try, but it's an imperfect system. So you have to kind of know what these red flags, kind of are or look like. So as an example, this kind of looks like, hey, we've detected unusual activity. You need to confirm your identity within 24 hours. Your account will be permanently suspended. Again, there's that immediacy, that urgency. It looks somewhat authentic, but it also creates an immediate need to address this. That should start sending up some flares in the back of your mind saying, hey, Elliott and Ryan told us about that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start looking at kind of these emails like chase-verify.account, that I usually bank at chase.com. This doesn't seem right. That again should be starting to send up some red flares, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. These alerts can be legitimate. Some of them might be alerting you to transactions in your account. If you're requesting movement of money, there will be confirmation emails that do come into your inbox upon occasion. But if you're not intentionally doing something, if a transaction is not expected, call the number on the back of your card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your debit card, your credit card, your bank statement, that 1-800 number to Chase, or the 630 or 773 number to your local branch to talk to your banker, to communicate with someone who you trust, who you know, to ask about this. That's the first step in mitigation. Do not click on a link you are not confident is legitimate, period. Right? Let this expire. Let the 24 hours go by and let your account get suspended if that is legitimate. I'd rather you do that than click on a link that's fraud.
Now, scammers and hackers are also getting a little crafty. As an example, if you bank at Wells Fargo, and nothing against Wells Fargo, this has nothing to do with Wells Fargo, just one of the first things that popped in my mind is this Wells Fargo URL looks right. But scammers are, as an example, replacing the L's with capital I's to make it look like it's saying Wells Fargo. And as opposed to taking you to wellsfargo.com, it's taking you to some random website that could be attacking your identity, trying to gain access to your information. Maybe it looks just like the Wells Fargo website. You put in your username and password and boom, all of a sudden Pandora's box is open.
If you can create a AI video of yourself in 3 minutes, imagine what a team of IT professionals can do to a website that looks like Wells Fargo, right? Easy for them to make that fraudulent face, definitely.
And if the email that, something like we see on the screen is sent at 4 o'clock in the morning, that should be a red flag.
Yeah.
If customer is spelled incorrectly, that should be a red flag. And an urgency and threat, again, 24 hours or you're suspended. It creates urgency. It creates a quick, turnaround. It makes you want to address something to fix it. But we have to stop, take a pause, and be like, does this sound right?
Yeah.
And lastly, hover over the links. Okay, I want you to see this. So if you hover over the link, that was doing it in prep. Come on, there. Come on.
Yeah, it was there. There you go.
See, I don't know if you can see that down there at the bottom. It says badwebsite.com.
That's good.
Okay,
Yep.
I don't know, I can't like highlight it right there, but down at the bottom it says badwebsite.com. Okay, that should tell you, hey, this isn't taking us to chase.com or Wells Fargo. It's taking us to some random website. Before you click on it, hover over the link that's in an email. That'll tell you whether or not, again, something is awry.
Also, if something like this hits your inbox and you want our opinion on this, I highly recommend contacting us. I am going to ask you, do not forward that email to us. Forwarding a fraudulent or phishing email to our inbox might trigger our IT team. It probably will get sidetracked. We may never get it, but calling us and asking us about it, or if you're able to send a screenshot of it, right, take a screen snip, take a picture, take a photograph with your phone, literally an analog photograph with your phone, send us that photograph. We can take a look at it. That's fine.
Even if it's on your computer, take your phone, have it up on your computer, take a picture of it and send it to us. We'll take a look at it.
Yep.
So again, these are real examples where, emails have been sent out and they've included a bad link, just like we went through, and it also has included PDFs, what looks to be a PDF. If you click on either of these in some of these emails, again, it's the best metaphor I can come up with is Pandora's box. We can get into all these different type of super viruses that can be unleashed on your computer, on your data, on your privacy. It's just, it's really, when you boil it down, it's really just Pandora's box. So be on alert. Again, take a look at this. I'm seeing this a lot more.
Yeah, me too.
Is some random person, and I pulled this off the internet, is sharing a document on Google Drive. Bizarre. And so someone will just, you'll get a notification saying, hey, so and so sent you this document on Google Drive. You're like, I don't recognize this person. I don't recommend this document. But I think some of us, we have an internal, desire to want to open the document and be like, what's this all about? You have to stop that. You have to take a second, because opening a document, especially if it's sent through Google Drive, again, could open Pandora's box. So again, one of those things that we're seeing more and more of: text messages, emails, Google Drive documents being sent, fake phone calls, fake, again, just all bad.
This also, from our perspective, and Elliot, I think your industry is similar to mine. We, Hickel CPA, and most accounting firms, we don't accept unsecured email attachments from anything, any
Oh yeah.
client, any prospective family members. I don't care who you are. I'm sorry. If you're sending me an attachment through an email, chances are my IT team has flagged that and we cannot open it. It's for this exact reason, because our industries are being targeted equally, if not more so, than the general public. The criminals know if they gain access to a firm or an institution, they gain access to thousands or hundreds of thousands of gold pieces for them.
Oh,
If you're sending any kind of unsecured email attachment, we just simply cannot open it. We'll request that, send you a link. We'll send you a link to gain access to your portal, to use your password and two-factor authentication so that you can send us that attachment through a secured channel. It's always a recommendation, and it would be abided by for the foreseeable future.
100%. It's just, which is something, again, I think that the general public can appreciate, all of our clients can appreciate, that we are going to make sure that we are protecting our data, thus we are protecting our clients' data.
Mhm.
So is it one or two additional steps? Absolutely. But when you understand the reasons why, we're not just trying to throw up our unnecessary, hurdles for, just for our kicks, if you will. It's
Right.
to make sure that we're always putting our clients' information in the best possible position for protection.
Mhm.
So this leads us, again, we've talked a little bit about texting and voice messages, phone calls. We are seeing it more and more. We see it on our respective phones as well. Hey, your package couldn't be delivered. You got this unusual charge. Is this still your number? Coming from phone numbers that we don't even know. Again, it says something that iOS has come out with their new way to screen through text messages, and it includes spam. So scammers are getting crafty.
Mhm.
What you should do: don't tap the link, don't reply, either forward the text to 7726, which is a spam, or swipe. If you're on iOS, I don't know about Android, swipe right and you can hit the report, delete, and report junk.
Yep. Just
Um,
delete it out of your inbox. Don't look at it. If it's somebody who really needs your attention, they'll text you back again. Right? Delete the wrong text. Someone who really wants to know you or get to know you, they'll reach back out to you.
Um, voice phishing, phone calls. Again, we all get these voicemails. Hey, it's the IRS. You owe back taxes, and um, this is your fraud department, and you need to verify X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, the U.S. Marshals or whatever. So
Hmm.
they're going to leave voicemails. They're going to try and to scare you to make an immediate decision. Take a second. If they say they're calling from Chase, pick up your credit card and call Chase directly and verify whatever they're trying to say. More and more, Ryan and I just learned about this a week or two ago. Scammers and hackers are now using AI to clone the voice of a loved one to say, hey, I'm in trouble. I need you to wire this money or to do this thing, go to the store and get these kinds of gift cards or whatever it may
Hmm.
be in order for you to help me. It is a very scary situation. So you just got to take a second, say, okay, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call you right back on your phone or whatever it may be.
Yep.
But that's what scammers are doing right now. They're imitating the voices of loved ones. So,
They're trying to get that emotional response, right? That's the intention, is the urgency, the emotion, pulling at your heartstrings. Oh my God, my granddaughter's in the grocery store and she needs $200. Let me just go ahead and Zelle her or cash app her the money. This is what the intention is. This is the whole concept. Take a moment, as Elliott said, take a moment, call them back, text them on a number that you know is legitimate, and inquire and
yeah,
ensure that it is legitimate.
100%. Again, the number one reason why these issues pop up and why they're trying to make it emotional is urgency. Urgency, it creates an immediate response to act, to get rid of this concerning feeling. Um, they use authority. This is the IRS. This is your bank. Familiarity and curiosity. All these different ways. They're just normal human emotions that scammers and hackers are preying upon. So identifying it and kind of recognizing it is the first, again, layer of defense that we can utilize to protect ourselves. Again, AI has changed the game. You saw the video at the beginning. Again, I'm not some kind of technologically savvy, I like to think I am, but I'm
I
not some
mean,
kind of
yeah,
coder. Or,
you're pretty good. I mean, but yeah,
thank you.
not the best in the game for sure. Neither one of us are. Absolutely.
Hey, you should see how many words I can type in a minute. But nevertheless, it's one of those things that with AI continuing to develop over the last year, it's incredible. The emails look more authentic, the
Yep.
voice cloning, the videos, the deep fakes. Um, a CFO, as we see it down the bottom right hand corner, 25 million was lost to a deep fake CFO video call in 2024. That was 2 years ago.
Oh,
You think about how far these videos have come in the evolution of AI just the last 2 years. It is becoming more and more scary. So when our respective teams or ourselves individually are calling you to identify and say, hey, I just need to get verbal approval to do this, and asking you personal questions about a trip that we knew you took or a family member or some personal questions. Again, we're not doing this. One, we're doing it because we genuinely care and we want
of
to know
course.
what's going on in your life. But the other reason is because we are making sure that you are you, that this request is actually coming from you.
Mhm.
So, Ryan, anything you want to add there?
No, I think the takeaway from that concept is, as technology gets better, and it is, exponentially getting better day by day, moment by moment, these are getting easier for the criminals to create and looking more and more real. So, yeah, take your time, step back for a moment and confirm always the legitimacy of any request having to do with your identity, your financial data, your accessibility to really any password protected environment, because it is essential that you take those proactive steps to avoid needing a reactive one. And what do we do if something happens?
100%. Take it slow. I think that's just, as Ryan and I have mentioned multiple times, take a second, take a beat, make sure that everything passes the smell test.
Yeah.
So, protection checklist. Let's run through a couple of these items. One, use a password manager if you can. Love that. A lot of clients still use the old write it down in a book. That's all fine and well. Just make sure you're keeping that book safe.
Mhm.
Turn on two-factor authentication. I can't emphasize that enough. Passwords are great. Two-factor authentication is another great layer of defense.
For everything and anything. The more you do it, the easier it becomes and the more you're protected.
100%. And I'm going to pause here to kind of build, the way I think about cybersecurity in general is that you've built a castle. All right. and it's all of your accounts, your identity, your sensitive information. The items on the screen are just layers of defense that we can install, build, put around the castle to protect you. We can build a moat. We can have a drawbridge. We can have a fire-breathing dragon, knights in shining armor.
A row of archers, cannons coming over the side. Great, great metaphor. Love it.
It doesn't mean it is foolproof, but it does help. So, as Ryan talked about, freezing your credit at all three bureaus, setting transaction alerts, and locking your phone with a 6-digit PIN and biometrics. You can't get into my phone unless it sees my face and I put in a password. Ryan, why don't you go through the last 5?
So keeping your phone and computer auto updating, ensuring that the software is up to date, identifying the known threats that the very smart and capable developers have mitigated. Again, the urgency, trying to tug at those heartstrings of an urgent request. Don't do it. Just pause for a moment. Again, taking that deep breath, count to 5, phone call, proactively reaching out to your financial institution. Confirming the wire instructions for any large transaction. Again, any small transaction, of course, as well, but wire transactions are typically reserved for real estate purchases, larger transfers, using that phone number that you initiated. Using credit cards and not debit cards. A credit card is not necessarily linked to your bank accounts. Typically, it isn't at all connected to a bank account. Debit cards are directly connected to your asset that has dollar value to it. And then also, number 10, my personal favorite, create the IP PIN. This is a free code from the IRS every single year, a new code for every single individual that ensures that only you with that code can e-file your tax return. No one can submit a tax return on your behalf using any software, any other professional, myself included, without that IP PIN that's generated each year uniquely. So getting an IP PIN from the IRS, we can assist you with this. Very easy, very quick. IRS.gov, it's a link right there. Get an IP PIN. It's very good protection for your tax return, which again has most of your personal identifiable information on a single page.
And Ryan, I think I want to touch on that briefly because I think that 2 of the bigger scams that we're seeing increase over the last maybe 3 years have been people filing returns without a taxpayer's knowledge, trying to get a refund sent to maybe their own bank, their own mailbox, and maybe more for what the taxpayer should actually be entitled to. So they're basically filing a tax return and getting money back without the taxpayer's knowledge, and it just is one of those things that we're seeing a massive increase on. And the other thing is, I really want to emphasize everyone should create a SSA.gov profile, especially as you're nearing age 62. Scammers are creating a profile on behalf of individuals that are nearing or in retirement. They're starting retirement benefits without the individual's knowledge and collecting those monthly benefits and having it sent to the scammer or the hacker's address and being deposited sometimes years before the actual recipient knows what's going on. So creating an SSA.gov profile is one of those other layers of defense that we're big fans of. So
the SSA.gov and IRS.gov, they both now use something called ID.me, which is the login credential that requires a 2-factor authentication. The enrollment process may be a little bit of heavy lifting, but it's for good reason, right? This is the account that accesses both your federal government Social Security account as well as the federal tax account that has everything to do with your refunds, your liabilities, your history of filing, Social Security numbers. This is a very sensitive area of information and should be treated with the utmost respect of security.
Love it. With that in mind, if anyone has questions, please let us know. Reach out to our offices. We're here for you. In the invites that were sent out to you was a resource from someone by the name of Jeff Lanza. Jeff Lanza is a former FBI agent who spent his career working on cybersecurity, not Social Security, but Social Security is part of it. who focused on cybersecurity. The resource is chock full of great tips, things to be aware of, ways you can continue to protect yourself, things that we just didn't have time to dive into in our webinar today. So we highly recommend you look through it. If there's anything that's top of mind you want to talk about, please let us know. We're here for you. Reach out to our offices, reach out to our team, give us a call. As mentioned, if you have questions, please join us on Zoom. We'll jump over there right now. The Zoom link is in the email we sent you. It is also in the comments in the description below. If you have any questions, we'll look forward to seeing you over there. Otherwise, have a great day. Be safe. Be on the lookout. Take a second. And always, always, always use us as a resource. We're here for you.
Stay protected. Bye.